Welcome everyone to another episode of Big Brain MMA podcast, episode 59. I'm your host BigSteve, like always. UFC 286, Edwards versus Usman 3, the grudge match, the trilogy. Good pay-per-view. Coming off a loss last week, one of the first loss since the last. One of the last pay-per-views in Perth, where Parker Porter buried us. I also haven't been very active this week, as some people might know. Just had had the competition last week, had some personal stuff. I don't want to talk too much about it. I made a Twitter post about it. But all in all, essentially just lost, small play on Yarn. The worst thing is I made $3,000 live betting. I live bet Fremd. I live bet Henry against Tony Gravely after the round one at Pick'em. I live bet, who else did I live bet? I live bet Grant, the GOAT. I got a little bit lucky there against SSO. A lot of good live bets, and just because I was really stressed with the competition and had to wake up at 6 a.m. to get ready for the comp and to watch the UFC, and it just had a lot of silly pre-bets, the under 1.5 in the Fremd fight, which I didn't track, and it was Pick'em and he just missed by like 20 seconds. Obviously lost the Peter Yan fight. Just a couple of sprinkles. Whenever you're sprinkling, it's a bad sign. If you can't commit to a big bet, it's a worrying sign. But other than that, everything's going well. The reads are good. Whenever I'm obsessed about a read, usually ends up losing. So the reads are there. You just have to be more disciplined. I'm a big advocate of mental. Don't bet too much if not having enough sleep, if you're not mentally there, if you're stressed with something. Yeah, everything's on point. It's still my best year so far to date. On that note, I just want to mention I also started a Discord. As I was taking the few days off, I thought it was a good time to open it up. A lot of people have been asking me for it, which was a surprise. I always wanted to start my own Discord. I mean, Discords with people that I don't really care about their opinion, or I don't really listen to them too much. So I thought, why not make my own Discord and, with my friends that I respect their opinion. So I did that. I've already got a few members. It's the Big Brain MMA Discord. It's the link is in the description if you want to join. Essentially me, all my picks, talking about regionals, talking about soccer. I've got, some well-known cappers. I've got Pepe in there. I've got Chad, people that have been on the podcast before. I'm still putting in some boys in there. So if you don't care about my picks, you got their picks in there. All the live betting. There was live betting on KSW today. I just realized on Bet365 for the first time. So I was trying to send out some bets there. Yeah, it's just a good Discord where we talk about bets. I've got Aleksandar from Twitter. He talks about Premier League. So there's a few people in there. It's growing. It's only just started 2 days ago. It's about $15 a month. It's probably not even $10 for American audiences. All right, so it costs as much as your Netflix, but you're just gonna make money long term. Right, I essentially never lose a month. I had one losing month last year, so yeah, jump in. Even if your unit's at $10, you'll pay it off in like 2 weeks. So jump in or don't. It's just something I started. I'm essentially not going to be active on any other Discords. This is my thing now. I want to be in there in my little space. And yeah, why not? Other than that, let's get into it. Decent card. I wasn't going to do this. Like I said on Twitter, I was taking a break, spent some time with the fam. But here we are, Found a little bit of time, taped what I could. It might be a short one. I might not have a lot to say about every fight. But yeah, at least it's something. I hate skipping podcasts. So here we are. We'll get to it. I'll talk about my bets and hopefully we cash in a few hours. Kikai Agakai, the GOAT is back. Thank you, mate. That's very generous of you. I consider myself up there. All right, let's get into it. First fight on the card. Veronica Hardy, previously Macedo, Juliana Miller. Interesting one. I think this is going to be a very exciting fight. No way in hell you can play the Juice and Juliana Miller. Yeah, I thought about fading her in her debut. She's very athletic, very scrappy. She makes a lot of mistakes, but she's got the Chase Hooper jiu-jitsu. She just keeps coming. She's very active, very relentless. She'll lose position, but eventually she'll get on top. Very aggressive ground and pound, very aggressive with her subs, very submission over position, and it works. She eventually drowns girls. She seemed much more improved in her UFC debut against Brogan Walker. I'm glad I passed there. But yeah, Veronica Hardy, she kind of reminds me of Lipsky. She has a lot of advantages, physical advantages and talent. She's explosive. She's in and out movement. She's got good hits early. She was reversing Julian Roberts, but yeah, she falls apart at a certain time, and kind of just like Lipsky, and she doesn't really pace herself. Now she's taken 3 years off. Could we see a more patient, more composed Veronica Hardy? If she is, we could see a Lipsky performance, like against the other girl that she just beat, the really unathletic chick, JJ Aldridge. But I don't know. She probably just still fights the same. It could also be, her last fight on the contract, a cash grab. She was 3 years away. She had concussion symptoms. I'm leaning towards maybe she starts off well and then just kind of tires out again. But she's been fighting on short notice. She's been fighting above her weight class, bantamweight. The one time she fought a flyweight when she had a full cam, she fought Andrea Lee. That was probably her toughest opponent, and she did well. She was thrown, went to a decision, didn't get finished. She looked good, so it's probably the best she's ever going to look, unless this is just a paycheck thing. I'm looking to maybe live bet Miller. Hardy throws her around a little bit. Sticks and moves, lands a head kick, spinning back kick. Like I said, she's athletic early, and then if she's starting to slow down, if it's the same old Hardy that doesn't have any pacing, then live bet Miller. She should take over as the fight goes on. She will fight for your money. I thought about the finish. Hardy's been finished or almost finished in every single fight, even against Bayer Maleki. She was done 1.5 rounds in, flopping to her back. If Bayer had any finishing instinct, she would have finished her. And she's finished her only win, submitted Polyana. She's dangerous. I can see a world where she can submit Miller, no questions about it. I thought about the under 2.5, right? It's a decent number. It's just, a lot of her fights, Ashley Evans Smith were over, or they were late, and as well as Juliana Miller's finishes, a lot of them are near the end. Her ground and pound finish at the end against Brogan Walker, the ground and pound was horrendous. She was lucky that the ref saved her there. Other refs would have let that go on. So, but the doesn't go decision is quite juiced. If anything, I feel like it's lined accurately. But I do feel like this is finishes at a pretty high clip, unless Macedo comes out there and she looks amazing. Composed, doesn't waste any of her energy. She lights up Miller. But essentially, it's a dogger pass for me. It's Miller live bet. It's the finish, but I'm thinking maybe play some rounds 1 or 2. Rounds 1 or 2 KO for better odds. But I feel like this is one of the ones where it reminds me of Johnson versus Jimmy Flick. And I played Johnson rounds 2 or 3 KO, and I missed out on an easy KO on Johnson and Pick'em. So yeah, there's a few bets that I'm liking here. Miller by finish, it's Pick'em. It gives you all 3 rounds, but then there's a risk of maybe Hardy getting a fluke submission. Doesn't go, quite juiced, or maybe round 2 or 3 props. Yeah. But yeah, maybe if someone can give me some good bets on here, but those are the options that I'm playing. But I feel like there's easy money on this card, other than live bet. Let's move on. Jai Herbert, Ludwig, Klein. Let me just read some comments. It's late night here. I'm waking up at 3 a.m. It's 8:30, so let's enjoy it. George Janero, how are you, mate? Of the 15 fights, how many do you like betting wise? Well, you love jumping the gun, mate. Let's go through it one by one, shall we? Are we all sleeping on Veronica? Juliana is so hittable on the feet. We are. I think a lot of people are sleeping on her. I think people might be surprised. I like the live bet as well. If Macedo Hardy does well in the first round, Miller will pour it on. I feel like, Macedo will do fine early. She was throwing around Julian Robertson. She was reversing her. She's got quite the athleticism edge, and on the weigh-ins, she looked more solid. And George Janaro, only one to ever finish Polyana in 18 fights. That's it, mate. Can't be underestimated. Alrighty. Jay Herbert, Ludwig, Klein. Klein seems to be a popular play. He's quite juiced. As someone said before, his odds are all over the place. He's losing as a massive favorite. He's winning as a massive dog. He's essentially, I get it. He's got a lot of advantages. He can get the takedown here. He's definitely got the better chin. He's got a lot more power. But he's given a lot of reach, a lot of height. I bet him as a dog against Devontae Smith, and that went to split decision. He was a massive favorite against Trezano, who's just a plotting jab and 1-2 merchant, and he lost that. Even though he got takedowns, he doesn't do much on top. Got broken by Nate Langwear. He doesn't like pressure. He can back up. If he gets takedowns, it doesn't do much. I could see this being, a close split decision if he doesn't knock out Herbert. Herbert fought like crap in his last fight, but a lot of the time, people fight like that just to get their confidence after losing. He's got to win now. I'm sure he wants to put on a better performance in London. It's a dog or pass for me. Yeah, I wouldn't touch it. I don't see much value on Klein. Let's move on. And I don't like the finish props. Joanne Wood, Luana Carolina. I didn't take this one. I see some people saying Wood's massive step down for Wood. She's retiring. Carolina's beaten Lupi Godinez, right? She's not that bad. She can keep it competitive in the stand-up. Yeah, I didn't take this because I felt like I might be tempted to lose money on this fight, so I just passed it. I don't want to talk about it. Alrighty. Jake Hadley, Malcolm Gordon. I got some Jake Hadley by finish, $1.71. I got 1,500 on it. I was surprised it was $1.71. A lot of people were saying before it even opened up on Bet365 that it was like minus 200. When I saw $1.71, I put 1,500 on there. It moved straight to minus 200. I'm happy with that. Look, if it's another sweaty Mukhai decision, that's fine. But I think, Jake Hadley hits a lot harder than Mukhai. He's a lot more aggressive. His submission's a lot better. He can be taken down easy, so I think Gordon probably takes him down. I think there's also potential that Hadley submits him from the guard. Gordon's been submitted multiple times, by Albazi, by Mukhai. He almost got triangled by Mukhai in round 2 as well. I feel like, Jake Hadley's going to pressure him. He's going to test that chin, that very chinny chin. He might give up takedowns because Hadley can give up takedowns a lot, in Bellator, on Contender Series, he was taken down in the first. He kind of warms up into the fight. He's potentially going to sub Gordon off his back, or he's going to, crack him, hurt him with the pressure striking. He says he's looking for the finish. Whatever, it's a no-brainer. I was looking for something to parlay Hadley with, just like a safe parlay, and I don't miss out on easy profit in case he doesn't get the finish. But I just couldn't find anything. I felt like I was forcing it. So, yeah, 1 unit on Jake Hadley by finish to win, I think, 0.8, 0.7 of a unit, $1,000, whatever that is. Yeah, that's my first official play. Let's move on. Christian Leroy Duncan versus Duško Todorovic. Alrighty, so I'm a Duško fan, obviously. I'm Serbian. It's him and Rakic is not much better. There's not much better than that in terms of what we have in terms of talent in the UFC. But I've opened my eyes. I'm not biased. He's got a lot of flaws, Duško. He does have good IQ, but he's not very physical. His wrestling's not the best. And his best takedown is when he locks his hands against the cage. But his last few fights, his takedowns are literally off bad shots, and his opponents, like Patolo or Chitty, going for their own submissions and flopping to their back. He gives them the neck because he has really good submission defense, and then they get carried away thinking they can sub him, and that's how he does his work. And his best advantage is definitely on top. Amazing ground and pound. One of my pet peeves is, when you're betting the finish or the under, and you got the fighter and he's got the back, and all he has to do is flatten you out and pound you, and the ref is going to stop it, and he just doesn't do it. They keep looking for the back, wasting time, ticking off the clock. Duško doesn't have that problem. He will flatten you out, and he'll just keep pounding. Really good killer instinct. He's got his flaws. He's got his advantages too. Duncan, obviously, I like Duncan. I've been cashing his juice juice money lines and cage warriors in the setup matches they've been giving him. Really athletic, dynamic striker. Flying knees, spinning elbows, spinning wheel kicks, elbows out of the clinch. I get the line might be a little bit wide. It's probably the best opponent Duncan's fought. I see people saying that, if Delano, whatever his name is, the Ivory Coast guy, can keep taking Duncan down, what's Dushko going to do to him? The Gaethje Milan is a much better wrestler. He might be more one-dimensional, and that's it, just a wrestler, nothing else. He was always going to lose that fight in a 5-rounder, but he's definitely the better wrestler. So he can get takedowns, whereas Todorovic's going to struggle a lot more. I think it's a dog or pass. It's just I don't really have confidence. As much as it hurts me to say, as a Serbian supporter, and I love Dushko. He's literally from my city in Serbia, the capital, Belgrade. Still trains there, which is probably a mistake. I just can't. I can't get behind him, and I can't get behind the juice on Duncan. I'm just scared that at some point Dushko does have good IQ. His best path is to maybe clinch up against him like he did against Teddy Atlas on Contender and just rough him up. He's good at working to the body. Even if he can't get Duncan down, he can still beat him. With grimy cage push decision. But the thing is, Duncan's really good at exiting with elbows, and I'm just scared that he might crack Todorovic at some point. We've seen Chidi do it. I was roped into playing Dushko there because the line just got insane. So much steam on Chidi, and he was doing good. I got excited, but he just ate that elbow, and he's very durable. But I just can't. I'll just see how it goes and live bet it. Other than that, I see a lot of people liking the over 1.5. That's not bad, A lot of people lost money in that Jordan Wright fight playing the under 1.5. And when you tape Dushko, he's barely finishing under. A lot of his fights are around. A lot of his finishes are round 2 or end of round 1, and that's a bad get. And he's not getting close to finishes unless he gets on top, and he's got bad wrestling. So if he can't get takedowns here, this probably goes over. The Quan Townsend went over, or it just about went under when he got the takedown. Even if he gets a takedown, I think Duncan can work his way up. He's got good get-ups. So that's not a bad, it's a pick'em. It's not a bad play. It's just, I think it's going to be a slow-paced, striking fight. Like I said, Dushko is durable. Duncan seems durable. The only thing I'm scared Dushko's going to get cracked. Duncan seems to just do a lot of nothing. And out of nowhere throws a spinning wheel kick or a flying knee and just, he's fighting a low level of competition, but the guys that he's hurting, they seem durable. Curry's durable. But that's probably a good play. Most likely goes over. You never know when Dushko's going to get cracked. Alrighty, let's move on. Leroy Murphy, Gabriel, Santos. Alrighty, now, one of my biggest regrets is when I was taping LFA and not playing Gabriel Santos as a massive dog against Delano. I think I was shocked at that line, and then when I seen, all the Twitter talk about parlaying Delano and blah blah blah, this and that, and how good he is, I kind of talked myself out of it. And that Elvis Brenner fight before in the UFC just against the Hugo, he was a little bit sloppy, back and forth. But then the more you watch, the guy's improving. A lot of these Brazilians, scrappy Brazilians, I mention all the time, they improve a lot. It's the guy's got everything. He's a southpaw. He can crack. He's got great jiu-jitsu. He's gone 5 rounds in one of his against Elvis Silva in Future MMA. He had a 5-round fight against Delano. Obviously, he only knocked him out. That's just very impressive. If you watch Delano's title fights in LFA, he's just demolishing people, and he's a very smart fighter himself. And Santos just ran through him in the stand-up. And on top of that, he's got decent wrestling. It's not amazing, but it's decent. He's got grit. He had a bad round against Brenner, came out in round 3, dominated him on the ground. Marcio Barbosa, who was 13-1, all KOs, almost knocked him out multiple times in round 1. And at the end of that round 1, Santos got up, kind of laughed at the camera, came out, landed a head kick, knocked him out in 9 seconds. The guy's got grit. He's got everything you want in a dog. Right, fight for your money, cardio, good everywhere. Obviously, the only concern is taking this on short notice and flying over to London. But it's backed into the line. Now, Leroy Murphy, also a beast. Very athletic, savage guy. big power, can switch stances, very technical. He's just don't know what to make of the guy. He's a very good fighter. He's undefeated, and he's fought the who's who. Ramos, Tuhugov, Amir Khani, like really high level of competition in the UFC, and he's beaten them all. It's just he hasn't been Tuhugov. Went to split. It's just he was dropped there. He was wrestled there a lot. Luckily, Tuhugov slowed down, and he got the draw. And then had a really close fight with the Andrade, knocked out Ramos, which I played him as a dog there, which is impressive. Ramos is a bit flaky, but still. And got wrestled for ages against Amir Khani and then knocked him out with a knee. So I live bet him there at the start of round 2. I was very lucky to get that bet in. As you know, I have to phone in. So yeah, he's a good fighter. He's just on the outside, he's got moments that he gives up. So Douglas de Andrade took his back. Douglas de Andrade took him down in round 3. He's a little bit low volume. Again, he got cracked by Tuhugov, got taken down by Tuhugov, had his back taken by Ramos. Essentially gets taken down in every fight. Like I said, Santos is not amazing at wrestling, but he probably can get takedowns. If it's on the outside, I said Santos, really good southpaw, good left down the pipe, good volume. If he's losing, he's going to turn that on. He's got grit. So it's, as much as I rate Leroy Murphy, and I think he's a potential, ranked fighter, how can you not play Santos? He's got everything you like, He's 26, he's still improving. He's ready for the UFC. He's an LFA champ. I like it, man. I like it. I'll know he's going to fight for my money. Hopefully he doesn't gas out too bad. But yeah, this is a no-brainer. I wish I could have taped it some more. I like to, a lot of you know, to listen to the podcast. I lock in my bets, and then the 2-3 bets that I have, because I'm risking big money on them, I retape it, and then I usually do my final bets. I don't think I'm going to have time. It's going to be 9 soon. To wake up at 3 a.m. and to be in the zone mentally. I should go sleep soon. But yeah, that's one of my only money lines that I kind of like. It's a big step up for Murphy, or maybe it's not. Delano is really good. Maybe Delano in LFA is better than Murphy. Who knows? But yeah, it's a dog or pass for me here. The line moved the other way, so there's money coming on Murphy, which is interesting. The reason Murphy took 3 years off is because he had a really bad accident and almost died as well. And they told him never to fight again. So that's a bit of narrative talk, which I'm not a fan of. But yeah, maybe that evens out the short notice and who knows what else. But it's a dog or pass for me. I couldn't even get half a unit on. I got limited after destroying PFL recently. So I've got 712 on it to win 1,000. I can essentially just put enough to win 1,000. So I can't even win a unit 1,500 anymore, but that's enough. Half a unit would have been $40 more. That's enough. I don't want to put a whole unit on Santos. It's a big step up. I do rate Murphy, but I think he's at least going to cover. I see some people saying he's going to get knocked out now because he's hittable. I mean, I think a lot of them are taken back from the Barboza fight. Barboza's an animal, and he survived. So, yeah, dog or pass for me. Good fight. Really, really high-level fight. Okay. Let's address the comments. Let me drink my matcha tea as well. George Janeiro, 100%, mate. Jojo giving off retirement vibes. I thought it was a retirement fight, but apparently she wants to keep fighting. But don't be fooled. If she loses this, she's retiring. Santo also ate an illegal knee and illegal kick that fight. Impressive durability. 100%, mate. Kid has it all. All right, next fight. Muhammad Mukhai Jafel Filho. Interesting fight. Mukhai absolutely juiced to the tits. Unplayable. Even if you're a massive square, you can't play him here. Filho, really good Brazilian dude. Not the best wrestling. He's physical. He's a big guy for the weight class. And he's got a really good reap trip against the cage. Right? He stays on you like glue and just kind of looks to reap your leg out and stay on the back. And when he gets on top, his control is excellent. Mount, back control. I don't know if I want to play him, in that content. I played him as a dog favorite in that Contender Series fight just because I thought his opponent was chinny. But here, I think, he's obviously going to be at a wrestling disadvantage. He was kind of gassed in that fight. He was flopping to his back. There's not much tape on him. I think he had a big layoff. Let me just have a look. Yeah, there's a fight in 2021, and then there's nothing in 2019, 18, 17. Right, there's like five years of his career missing. Right, he beat Vinicius Salvador, who's in the UFC, via ground and pound, which that makes sense because Salvador, horrible ground game. So he obviously just took him down and mounted him. He has also been submitted in round 3 by this Mateus guy, who, bit of a regional Brazilian dude. I would have thought someone with as good of a ground game as Filo wouldn't be submitted. Who knows, maybe it was a club and sub. Again, can't find the fight. 2014 against Bruno Correa, another black belt who was an Ultimate Fighter. 3 rounds of grappling, didn't get subbed. So yeah, I played the other 1.5 here. It's a little bit juicy. It's a little bit risky. I hate my overs. If you know, I've got a really good record at unders, and there's a reason for that. I think my brain is centered around unders. So when I have to think about overs, I'm always scared, always thinking about how it's going to finish. But you look at his career, he couldn't even finish Malcolm Gordon in the under 1.5. Got Cody Durden with a guillotine choke. Blaine or Driscoll won to second round. Abdul Hussein decision. Jamie Kelly round 3. I think when you see his fight against Mukhai, he's just sitting in his guard. He's taking him down and sitting in his guard. I don't think he's going to get any of this takedown. If anything, I'm more scared of the under hitting because Filo submits him, right? Because Gordon had his back a few times, and this Jalo Filo is a very good back taker. You don't want to mess around with him. So I've got the other 1.5, $1.60. It's quite juiced. Again, limited. I might add some more on another book. But yeah, it feels like, how does this finish? How does this go under? Even though I'm scared, I'm just going to lay it. There's a lot of popular over 1.5s on this card. I see people talking about it. The Shaw one, this one, a couple others. But this one seems like the safest in terms of, probably we just get like a grappling match where Mukhai probably out wrestles Filo. And it just goes over. Maybe finishes him late. Maybe Filo, I don't know, who knows. Maybe Filo surprises us, gets a rear naked choke. But yeah, I've got the over here, and yeah, what else can you play? Alrighty. Sam Patterson, Ashmoz. Weird low-level fight, this one. Sam Patterson's huge, man. 6'3" against 5'9", 78 inches of reach. He's 4 inches away from John Jones. It's nuts at 70 kilos. And this Ashmoz is tiny as well, which is going to be such a comical. It's going to be like a pride freak show fight. I'm not going to touch Patterson. I think Patterson's the well-rounded fighter. Good striking, can fight on the back foot, long calf kick. Keeps spamming the guillotine and the front chokes. I see submission is a popular play. Upon tape, it just feels like maybe Ashmoz probably won't get submitted by, I don't know, he seems really stocky, kind of like Volkanovski. His best attribute seems to be his physicality and, getting takedowns, and he has really good ground and pound. Patterson can be taken down. He's been taken down multiple times on Brave. He's fought some good level of competition. I don't want to play him at juice. Patterson, I think Ashmoz can do well early, can get takedowns, can maybe crack him. Sam's got tall man defense. But yeah, nothing here I like. I don't want to play Ashmoz. It's just this feels like a contender series fight that I don't really want to touch. And I can understand why people are playing Patterson by submission. Pardon me. Because he does hunt for it. He will not stop for it. He'll keep spamming it and spamming it. So I get it. It's just, might pass. Pass for me. You could also you could live bet Patterson because usually gets taken down, usually loses early, and he comes on strong. He's got a lot of round 3 wins and finishes after getting wrestled early. So that could be a good spot here. Even on Contender Series, he was getting cracked by Cersei, the guy that trains with Vittori, Kings MMA. He's a really good jiu-jitsu dude, and Patterson rear naked choked him. Wasn't even a guillotine, so he's got good jiu-jitsu. So you can live bet it or play maybe Patterson submission 2-3. Some good plays there. Okay, next fight. Chris Duncan versus Irma Morales. Now, Morales seems to be a popular play again on Twitter. Hopefully it's not Twitter mush for the boys that are playing it. I know a lot of people that are playing it. For me, it's not for me. Both these guys have the same weaknesses. They get exposed by quicker, more dynamic strikers. Medic and Giga against Morales. I get that Duncan is, a lot more slower, a lot hittable than Morales. But Morales has been money train for me. I've been betting him against Donya Ma and Young, and he's winning those fights 30-27. But he's doing the bare minimum. right? Sometimes he comes out against Benitez and he's fighting for your money. He's throwing like a psycho. And then in those fights, he does nothing, and I'm sweating it. And sweating it, he can put a lot more stamp on fights, and he's doing nothing. And Duncan is like the much better version of Young. Plotting, hittable, but much bigger, hits harder, and much more pressure. He's not going to be scared like Young. Young seemed to be petrified after being knocked out by Klein in that fight. Duncan will pressure him, and yeah, he might get knocked out. Yeah, I get it. On tape, you can see that Morales seems like the cleaner, faster fighter, maybe marginally. But yeah, still, he always used to be durable. Now he's kind of getting knocked out, kind of getting dropped. 37. Almost knocked out by Giga too. And late in round 3, when Giga slows down, yeah, I just don't trust it. I think at Pick'em, I don't see much value. Maybe Morales should be the tiniest of faves due to that speed and being slightly cleaner fighter. But yeah, I think this is a good matchup. They match them up well. I don't want any of my money on it. Could be another good live bet. All right. Jack Shaw versus Makwan Amirkhani. Now, someone on Sherdog I've asked about 17 times about this fight. It's the all standard, Makwan round 1. Apparently it's paying really well. Let me just double check. You never want to play it because it's like he's not going to get a round 1. That's his only win condition, and he still gets it. And Shaw seems like a smart guy not to fall for that, 100%. He's not going to shoot or anything, right? I trust him. He's got good IQ. He just has a lack of athleticism, right? That's always been his problem. And I remember when one of my favorite bets was fighting him against Simon. I was in Serbia last year, and I taped like 1 or 2 fights. I taped the Azur fight, and I was like, oh, that's it. And I played Simon because I already knew it. Just came flooding back to me that Jack, if he's fighting a strong athletic wrestler, he will always be at a disadvantage. He's very technical. He's got good get-ups, good reversals. He's all technique. There's nothing is muscle, nothing is forced, which is good. But yeah, I think Makwan can definitely get him down. Makwan can get anyone down early while he's fresh. He's a really good wrestler. He sells out for it. Like Callum, whatever, saying, Shaw looked fat at the weigh-ins, concerning for minus 500. I mean, it's unplayable. It's unplayable even as a parlay piece. If anything, I would play Shaw, round 3 decision. I don't think he's going to finish Makwan. Makwan gets finished by, pressure guys like Burgos. Even Barboza didn't finish him. People that turn it on him when he's really, really gassed. And even then, sometimes he survives, survived the Jason Knight fight. Got called clean by Leroy Murphy. Almost made it to round 3 by Pierce, and Pierce was just ground and pounding him from the get-go. From the first single leg, Pierce was throwing Travis Bryan elbows. Shaw won't do that. Shaw just stays on the outside and does the bare minimum, very technical, good distance management. So I think, I know some of the boys, are really big on the over 1.5 here. I get it because, Shaw probably stays safe, probably gets taken down, probably gets get up. Don't see him finishing Makwan. So I can see it. It's just there's that big risk. There is that risk. Someone like Shaw, and we've seen Shaw tap early, get dropped and tap early to Simon. Right, he is submittable. He's not unsubmittable, and Makwan can submit everyone. It's just I might get around to that over 1.5. I might get around because as I'm talking about it now, the only concern there is Makwan round 1. And that's paying so much that you can just hedge yourself, I guess. And then if it gets out of round 1, it goes over 2.5, over 1.5, you hit that bet, and then you can live bet Shaw, you hit that bet, and maybe your round 3 decision, Jack Shaw hits as well. But yeah, Jack Shaw by decision is paying $3. That's plus 400 or plus 200 for you Americans. And his KO or finish is minus money, which is ridiculous. He's only finished 2 bums. So yeah, that could be a bet for me there. I might get around to that 1.5, but Makwan round 1 sub, $17. It's going to get some of my money. I have to play it. I'm going to play it. I have to play it. What are you going to do? I'll play it, and whatever happens, happens. You just know Shaw is going to be running away. He will be running away. So yeah, a few plays I like there. All right. Shaw live. Shaw round 3 decision. Sure, maybe 2-3 KO. Like I said, he's not submitting Mach 1. And Mach 1 round 1 for the culture, for the hedge. Last time I tried to fade him against Grundy would have ripped Mach 1 apart. I forgot to hedge. So there's no shame in hedging, guys. The main game when it comes to long-term betting is protecting your assets, protecting your losses. Don't lose all your money. Hedge. Don't go crazy. But yeah, let's move on. FIFA Kicks Gaming. There you are, mate. Chris Duncan decision plus 600. I like that, mate. I like that. Yeah, if you're going to play anything, play that. George Nero, Shaw moved up to look worse. 2 question marks. Yeah, I mean he's not a very athletic guy. It's not like he's putting muscle on. He's going to be like those Mowgli Benitez and these other guys that just always look kind of fat. But he's probably going to feel better at the weight class. Alrighty, Marvin Vettori, Roman Dolidze. I'll be honest, I just taped a couple of these guys' fights. It seems like a good fight for Vettori. Dolidze, low volume. Doesn't throw much. Seems gassy. He's hittable. Vettori has really serviceable and bread and butter boxing. He's a southpaw. Just nice 1-2, constant pressure, good volume, which is going to be really bad for Dolidze. Like someone like Dolidze who doesn't throw much and who can't scare Vettori away with his power. All right, but the problem is Vettori is hittable. Dolidze can knock out anyone. We saw Vettori a little bit more wobbly against Whitaker. Now they had the overs there. I think round 3 decision and a parlay, just some stupid stuff. I was sweating, man. It was Whitaker was getting close. He was wobbling him all over the place. So he's not. Everyone can be knocked out. And if anyone can do it, it can be Dolidze. This guy just keeps getting away with it. Keeps fighting people that are better than him, that have more volume than him. And he's just finishing him. He's just winning. The Hermanson fight was insane. He looked minus 800. He was getting outstruck. He was easily getting taken down, and he was just playing off his back, and he couldn't hit anything on Hermanson until he did, and he just won. I feel like Vettori can do the same thing, maybe survive. I feel like he's got better jiu-jitsu on top. I'm sure Dolidze can take him down. Costa took Vettori down, but usually Marmot has really good takedown defense. Essentially, I don't want to play Vettori at this crazy line. He's a bit of a meathead. If this is 2 meatheads going at it, maybe Vettori. I think Vettori can get a sneaky knockout. We've seen, Trevin Giles drop the leads there with the jab, straight punches, light him up. Same thing that Vettori can do. Just we haven't seen anyone really take advantage of it again since. I think someone like Vettori can do it. Maybe round 3 decision. I know Vettori decision is quite minus money, so don't know how I feel about that. Ooh, money's coming on Dolidze. Vettori's $1.40 now. A respectable parlay piece, some would say. Not for me though. Not for me. A live bet fight. I don't want to get in the way of Dolidze. I'm not one of those guys that's been losing money on him. Because I could tell that he's good despite looking bad on tape. And yeah, I'm not going to get in his way here either. I think if he can beat anyone, it can be someone like Vettori, who's hittable, who's also a meathead, and he's going to come into the pocket and swing. But yeah, if Roman is starting to fall apart rounds 2, round 3, like the Giles fight, yeah, maybe live bet Vettori. Let's move on. Jennifer Maia, Casey O'Neill. So I've got some Maia here. That would only allow me to place $666 to win 1,000. Now last time I had 666, I also won. It seems to be a lucky number for me. I just feel like this is a big step up for Casey O'Neill. She's got a lot of advantages. She's relentless. She's gritty. She's got great cardio. Fight for your money. But she's always got some adversity. She's getting lit up by Shanna Dobson. She's not athletic. She can be taken down. Laura Procopio was throwing her around in round 1, was lighting her up, got bad head movement. Shevchenko took her down and had her in crucifix. That's a bad sign. Modafferi was, cracking her clean. And I didn't know why she didn't go for takedowns there. And she also gave up takedowns to Modafferi. Now, when Jennifer Maia fought Modafferi, it was a clean 30-27. Maya does have good underhooks, first layer takedown defense. She's a lot more physical. Yes, she can be taken down sometimes because she's a little bit round, a little bit chunky when she's on her back. She's not the most explosive to get off her back. She spends on average. I've done a lot of tape on Maya in the past. She spends about an average of 2 minutes on her back when she gets taken down. On second and third takedowns, she's a lot quicker to get up. I think she realizes she can't stay on her back anymore. Her performances against Fioro, Chikagian was a bit worrying. She went for judo throws and ended up on bottom, getting her back taken. That's the concern there, because she literally lost that fight by doing bad moves and getting out-grappled by Chikagian. But we've seen what Chikagian did to Shevchenko, for example. The bad Shevchenko, she looked like Khabib. So, Caitlin is a Danaher black belt. She's not bad. She just never uses it. She's much better than Casey O'Neill, and she's also better on the outside. Caitlin is a perfect point fighter, whereas Casey O'Neill is hittable, very hittable. Although she had a lot better striking in terms of offense against Modafferi, a lot of good volume. That's why I don't know if I'm going to keep this. I played Maya against Moroz. She won 30-27, 29-28 there. She cracked Moroz. I'm sure she can crack Casey O'Neill, very hittable. And Moroz didn't really shoot for takedowns, whereas O'Neill will. And she might get stuffed early, but if she gets one and she's a beast on top, it could be enough to steal the rounds. I hate fading these girls that will just keep shooting and shooting and shooting, and once they take you down, they just steal the whole round away from you. So it's kind of one of those women fights where I don't want to go too big on. I reluctantly played her against Moroz, and she ended up looking massive favorite. 30-27. It's just watching Maya's tape, you always care to play her. It could be like one takedown and spends 2 minutes on her back, or one naked court kick and she's so athletic she might fall down. Casey O'Neill's good at catching kicks too, but she's also thrown kicks and ended up on her ass as well. Yeah, it should be a dogger pass here. No way you can play Casey at this price. She's coming back after 10 months of doing her ACL. She said she really wanted to be on this card, so she made it her goal to come back. So it obviously sounds like she rushed it. But yeah, I'm not saying she was already unathletic, so it's not like she's going to lose much of a step. But yeah, dogger pass. I've still got that money on Maya. Again, I wish I could retape, see if I'm going to keep it or not. I'm probably not going to keep it. Yeah, hopefully Hadley finish hits. If I'm going to keep anything, I'll keep Santos. I like that money line way better. But yeah, dogger pass. Gunnar Nelson, Brian Barberena. So Gunnar Nelson cost me a lot of money. With his submission prop that I hit last fight in London. It's why I hate overruns, why I hate props. People were telling me, you can't hit Gunnar Nelson at minus money. It was a pick'em. I'm like, yeah, it's minus money. It's pick'em. It's 50% chance. But it should be 70%, 80% chance. Because in every fight, Sato gives up his neck. He's got bad takedown defense. He's also chinny. And, he's been submitted by Bilal Muhammad. He early taps. And Gunnar Nelson goes for takedowns ASAP. He's a really good back taker. This should be 80%, Gunnar can hurt him. Gunnar can take him down. Gunnar can pound him out. He can guillotine him. And then, gets a takedown. First of all, doesn't shoot for long periods of round one, which is rare for him. Then he, gets a takedown late, gets a body triangle. I'm like, okay, you can just do that in round two and he'll submit him. And then does it round two, does it round three, and just no urgency to go for the sub. He's 34 years old now. He rarely fights. I don't think he cares about finishes or bonuses anymore. I think he just gets in there to win. He knows he's not going to be champ. He's not ranked anymore. It's just a hobby for him. He loves competing. Barberena, I missed out on the money against RDA sub. Right? Like I say all the time, I'm very visual. I've never seen Barb get subbed. I've seen good submission defense by him. And he survived that really deep arm triangle choke by RDA, right? Which does prove that he does have good submission defense and he's calm in there. RDA submitted Magny with that arm triangle. Submitted Kevin Lee with that arm triangle. He's got a really good arm triangle. He was fresh too. And Barberena survived it and he gave up his back and stood up and got taken down in round two and eventually got a rear naked choke. But that was over the chin and the squeeze was so hard. He eventually tapped, but he was in there for about 10-20 seconds, right? Barberena doesn't early tap. If Barberena just puts up any sort of fight to defend the choke like Sato, Gunner's not going to fight for it. He's just going to keep him in the body triangle. Yeah, the money line's unplayable. I wouldn't even parlay him. Like I said, I don't trust Gunny. His low output. He seemed a bit gassed against Sato, and he barely did anything. Barberena, also 34, but now it kind of seems like he's less washed. He's better and better after his injury. He throws a lot of volume. So if he can just, survive and not get submitted, he probably makes it a very competitive fight with Nelson. What I played here was on Neds, which is an Australian bookie. It's the same bookie that I played the Makhachev 2 takedowns at -200 against Volkanovski. That hit in 1 round. Wish I hammered that. I did hammer this one. Not really. Not even 2 units. I put $2,000 on Gunny to get 1 takedown to win 760, so half a unit. So I was paying $1.38. I think that should be $1.10. If you look at Gunny's fights, 4 takedowns against Edwards, who's a good wrestler, 3 against Sato, whatever. 2 against Oliveira. I can't remember off the top of my head. He's essentially taken everyone down at least once. The only people he hasn't taken down even once is people that he dropped and then submitted. So like Brandon Tatch dropped him and then submitted him straight away with a rear naked. I don't know if that's going to happen here. Maybe it does, but yeah, I feel like I'll be extremely unlucky if I lose this bet. Barberena sparks him, or I don't know, Gunny just doesn't shoot for 3 rounds, which would be rare, very rare. He usually shoots very early. So yeah, I've got that 2,000. You can get $2.20 plus money for 2 takedowns, which probably hits. I know one of my boys hit that, but I'm just playing it safe. I just want to profit this week. 1 takedown, whenever it happens, it happens. Hopefully ASAP, so I'm not sweating. And yeah, that's all I have in this fight. Not really interested in anything else. All right, Justin Gaethje, Raphael Fiziev. I'm really close to just laying the juice on Gaethje, Fiziev. It's a pay-per-view. A lot of the favorites hit, just like last week. It's a bit juicy, and I get it. Gaethje is dangerous. He hits hard. He throws. He's got no regard for his safety, which is what makes him dangerous. And Raphael can be cracked. He's been hit before. He hasn't really faced many big hitters. The one big hitter that he faced knocked him out. Magomed Mustafayev with a spinning wheel kick. He was getting cracked by Moicano too, but he does seem to have a good chin. Brad Riddell kind of shut him down. It was a close fight, but I think he was still winning 30-27 before the KO. Bobby Green, I don't really care about that. I mean, he still hurt Bobby Green in the second, and Bobby Green's volume is unmatched. Mark Diakese, he came out and completely shut down his calf kick, right, which is good because Gaethje does throw a lot of calf kicks, leg kicks. And took a step up in Dos Anjos, and there's a lot of takedowns in there, and he went to round 5 and got a knockout. Still carries his power late. Gaethje's 34. He's always been getting hurt, wobbled, even before in his, more in his prime. Always fights strikers, James Wick, Barboza, Cerrone, Ferguson, a lot of wash guys on his record. Chandler, he made that way closer than he should have been. Charles Oliveira dropped him twice before he finished him. I just think Fiziev is going to be a lot more patient, a lot more safe. The only time he gassed is when he fought like an idiot against, Green. He kind of gave into the crowd, and he was showboating, etc., and threw a lot of volume. But even then, like, is Gaethje going to throw that kind of volume in round 3 like Bobby Green? Because Gaethje kind of slows down himself. I can see this being close. Just a close striking fight. Maybe Gaethje laying some big overhands, but ultimately I just see Fiziev is so much faster. He's obviously got the kicks. He's very dynamic with his kicks. He steals rounds with those kicks. Probably just cracks Gaethje once or twice. Has a big eye-catching shot. I don't think anyone's going to wrestle here. If they do, Fiziev has very good takedown defense, strong hips. I think Fiziev just edges out a close striking fight, or maybe even knocks him out. Who knows? I've been underrating Fiziev's power, but I think the guy can crack. RDA is very durable. So I've got Fiziev here. I'm close to laying the juice, but maybe I should just parlay him with something. I'll have a look, see what I can parlay him with. But yeah, I'll lay him Fiziev. Alrighty. And Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman. I didn't want to take this fight. I taped these guys so many times, both of them. I didn't play anything in the first fight. I just thought Leon probably has some value. It's just the way he fights, very patient, and that fight where he got hurt by Nate Diaz. I was like, yeah, I don't like that. He's low output. Kamaru's with the power, the physicality, and he looked like he was using all those advantages to beat him in the first fight. Although he's got taken down, got his back taken by Leon in the first, which made me excited. And now Usman's been knocked out. He's always been hittable. He's getting dropped by people like Kobe that don't have much power. Edwards, he's a really good striker. He's good everywhere. I'm sure he's even more confident now. This time he's in London. I don't want to touch this fight. It's a dog or pass for me. Maybe he'll come around to it. All the overs are horrible now. So juiced. But yeah. No, I'm not really interested in this fight, unfortunately. It's a dog or pass for me. Leon is the way that I would go. But I don't have any strong conviction. I feel like Usman would have to be a little bit washed for that. But yeah. No interest in playing anything. Alrighty, let's go over the plays. What do we have? So Hardy Miller, I feel like the finish here is going to hit one way or another. I'm just trying to find ways not to lay a full unit on that juice doesn't go. Maybe round 2 or 3. But I feel like I'll be kicking myself if round 1 finish happens, but we'll see. Otherwise, I'll live bet Miller. Herbert, Klein, Eileen Klein, there's no value there. Wood, Carolina, I didn't bother. Hadley, I got Hadley by finish, 1 unit, $1.71. If he doesn't finish him, so be it. It's his fight to lose. Duncan Todorovic, dog or pass. Look at live bet at the over 1.5 at Pick'em, pretty generous. Yep. Leroy Murphy, Santos. I've got Santos. Just a great dog that's good everywhere that will fight for your money. Mohammed Mukhai, Philo, over 1.5 rounds. A little bit juicy, but hey, could look even bigger value. Sam Patterson, Ash Morris pass. Chris Duncan, Morales pass. Jack Shaw, Americani. Nothing at the moment, but I think I'm going to find a combination of over 1.5. Americani round 1 as a hedge. And then maybe some Jack Shaw decision or rounds 2 or 3. Vittorio Deliza, nothing. I've got Maya, probably not going to keep it. Gunnar Nelson, I've got to land at least 1 takedown, $2,000 to win $760. Fiziev, I'll probably play him, lay the juice, or put him in a parlay with someone. Nothing on the main event. So best bets. Best bets is an easy one. I've got the Gunny, 1 takedown, and I'll be incredibly unlucky not to hit that, like I said. And Hadley finish again. I think that would be also very unlucky to not hit. I wouldn't play it at -200 now. I think at that point it's pretty close to his money line. Just put his money line in a parlay with someone. But yeah, those are my 2. If you don't have the Gunny 1 takedown plays, I guess I like Santos. I like Santos as a dog play. So yeah, those are my bets. Apologies for being very late. Like I said, I wasn't even going to do a podcast this week. Like and subscribe if you haven't. I'll be back to my general standard procedure next week. Taping, putting out early podcasts. If you're interested in the podcast, in the Discord, join in. I'll put the link in the YouTube description. $15 a month, $10 American. A lot of sharp boys in there. If not, it's all good. I'll be live betting tonight at 3 a.m. Jump on. If not, no hard feelings. But yeah, thank you everyone for listening. I've got one more comment. T-boned, hot take, Leon, and not even close. You know what, mate? I have a sneaking suspicion that might be the case. It's just don't want to put my money on it. My main events have been terrible. Cyril Gahn, Jan. Who else? Jessica Andrade. Yeah, my main events have been terrible. But this one, I'm not playing it. But every main event, I've had a bad feeling about. I've been right. I had a bit of a bad feeling about Andrade. I just messed up my CLV. That's why I didn't want to cash out, lose too much money. I just let it ride. I only put $500 on Gahn because I was up heaps and had a bad feeling like it was going to be a setup fight. and had a bad feeling about Xian, but I kept it because of CLV as well. So yeah, I have a feeling like Edwards might cruise here. It's just I'm not putting money on it. The only main event this year I hit was Strickland as a dog against Imavov. So there's some sort of sus stuff going on with the main events. So yeah, let's keep an eye on it. We'll keep an eye on it. Alrighty, that's it. I'm gonna get out of here, go to bed. George, appreciate your episodes. Thank you, mate. You're a legend. Thanks to everyone who listens. Callum, whatever, I'm joining, bro. Cheers. Looking forward to seeing you in there. Alrighty. Thanks again. Good luck with your bets. I will see you all in a few hours. And yeah, good luck.